Yep, that's me, Franny.
Hi, welcome back to FrannyTings. So today we're gonna be talking about social media and relationships. How does it affect you positively and negatively? Okay, so I wanted to get into it. I went on Instagram today and asked you guys, aka like my 5 followers, what you guys think of the topic itself, and a lot of you gave me a lot of ideas to speak on, so I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. So stay tuned if you want to hear my personal opinion about social media and relationships and how it affects us. Let's get it. So the first thing I wanted to touch base on is the way that relationships are perceived through social media and the false expectations that they carry. So I feel like a lot of people turn to social media to see what a relationship is supposed to be. And honestly, I think that is not the way to look at it. I feel like every relationship is very different, just like we are different as individuals, and we shouldn't be comparing ourselves on social media as well. This goes hand in hand with just being individuals on social media and relationships. Literally every relationship is different, and sometimes my friend Mimi, shout out Mimi Dreams, she mentioned this, and I really wanted to touch base on that. She's like, you know, sometimes I go on Twitter and I'll see people kind of tweeting like advice about, you know, relationships, and you think that it's okay because they're getting so many retweets on it, but in reality it's like, why should you follow that advice if it's maybe not meant for your relationship? So going back to it, I feel like every relationship is different. There's some stuff like on TikTok as well that can benefit, you know, and be good advice, but sometimes it's just like, it's not aimed for your relationship. And I also wanted to touch base on, like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of things in social media that people think your like boyfriend / girlfriend are supposed to do for you. So an example, like, I always see people like on Valentine's Day, right? And they're always like, damn, like I need a girl for Valentine's Day, or girls are like, oh my God, like I wish I had a date for Valentine's Day. And for me, honestly, like, you know, I did like a whole like thing on Valentine's Day with my boyfriend, but you know, I don't think that Valentine's Day necessarily means that it's the only day that your significant other has to treat you this way, you know? Like when I was single on Valentine's Day, I would take myself out on a date because I know what I wanted, you know, and I was just like, fuck it, I can give myself that, you know? And I just think that a lot of people think that you have to have a significant other to do certain things, like go on dates, you know, travel the world. It's like, you know, if you want to do that with a significant other because you love them, why not enjoy your own company and do those things as well? I had a podcast a couple weeks ago that talked about self-love, and I did mention this. It's like not waiting on anybody. And I feel like social media has brainwashed all of us into thinking that you do need a partner in order to experience life and in order to experience certain life things, but in reality you really don't. And there's just like a lot of expectations, like especially like the way men treat women. I feel like a lot of women feel entitled to constantly you know, get men to pay for their dinners, pay for trips, pay for like mostly everything. And I'm a firm believer in like 50-50 and splitting everything equal. You know, don't get me wrong, I like to get spoiled, but does that mean that my boyfriend can't get spoiled? No, like I want to take him on dates too. And you know, if he gets me lunch, I'll get him breakfast the next day or whatever it is, you know. I'm a firm believer in that. And I feel like sometimes the way that like social media and even TV has raised us, it just made us feel like women have the upper hand in like being like kind of like spoiled in that way. And I don't necessarily agree with that. A lot of men still carry that ideology, you know, but I do know a lot of women nowadays that are just like, yeah, like, you know, it is equal on both ends. So yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of things on social media that, you know, people think that they have to be this way, like, and in reality, you don't see what's behind the screen, which is the next thing I wanted to talk about. A lot of people think that everything has to be great and dandy in relationships, and that's not necessarily true. Going back to what I said about Twitter advice, but in this sense, like, I think it, benefited the situation that I was thinking about, was in order to have a successful relationship, and this is not just intimate wise, this is like with every relationship, you do have to have vulnerable conversations. And I think that is super 100% true, at least in my end. And I feel like you don't see that through social media. You don't see, those vulnerable conversations that you're having with your partner, that you might cry. And, like, you don't see that on social media, because what you're posting on social media is the best parts of your life. And that's something that we all have to take into account with everything. Like, literally, social media is a platform that you're posting the best versions of yourself. Now in days, I feel like it's a little bit opening up to people who are being more themselves, like posting pictures without makeup, for women example, posting pictures of how they really feel, maybe crying, whatever it is. But you don't find that a lot. Social media is meant to kind of like flex and like show the best parts of you. So you can't really be comparing yourself as an individual, nor your relationship to anybody on social media, because literally it's a whole nother world that you're not seeing. So I'm gonna like leave it at that. But yes, false expectations in relationships. Just if you catch yourself getting in that cycle of comparing your relationship to another one based on social media, just know that like that's maybe a conversation that you have to have with yourself as an individual and with your partner. Like, so just know that where you stand with your partner is between you guys. And, if you're genuinely happy in your relationship, you shouldn't be looking, to compare yourself or your relationship to any other ones. So the next thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to comparing, I guess, relationship to others, is insecurities through social media and relationships. That's one of the number one things I got on my Instagram when I posted today about this topic, was people finding that insecurity when their significant other likes a picture and it causes trust issues. Now, personally, like, I can understand where that is coming from. I get that liking a picture of a girl or a guy can mean like one thing, but honestly speaking, I feel like that has to do with, the individual themselves. I do think social media is a big reason why people have these trust issues, because I do think somewhat Instagram's algorithm is to cause like tea, like I've always felt like people were always like, yeah, because I saw like all of a sudden when I went on his Instagram, it said similar to, and then it was his ex, and then I clicked on it, and then I saw, like, literally there's always a way to find something, and it's really up to the individual to be secure about who they are with. Now, if, you and your significant other have trust issues, that's something, again, that you guys need to talk amongst yourselves. But, liking a picture and, like, I don't know, commenting on a picture, again, that's something that a conversation has to be made between two people. And I do think social media has constructed the algorithm of Instagram to feel like a like is important, when in reality it could be aimlessly liking something, but again, if there's trust issues there, that literally has to do within you and your partner, that needs to be talked about and shared, because a like for me can just be a like, but for someone else a like can be something way more. So it really depends on how you weigh social media as well. If it's very impactful for you, like, then that means that obviously there's an importance there. So that's definitely a conversation I feel like that needs to be made amongst you and your partner and yourself. One thing that I feel like happens a lot through social media and relationships, which I have personally dealt with, I've had experiences about this, is that at least on my end, and at least for like women. It sometimes happens, and for men too, because I feel like as soon as you see that like a girl is single, like you're like, oh, here's my turn. Like, but basically what I'm trying to say is that friendly people, okay, friendly bitches, friendly boys, okay, you know who you are, because I know a lot of friendly boys, so get out. So basically, I feel sometimes in social media that when you're posting your significant other in your happiest moments and like, you know, all this stuff, there tend to be people out there that want what you have. And if you're Hispanic, we call that mar de ojo, like mar de ojo vibes, that they wish your relationship negative, like they wish bad upon your relationship, so then that way they can have something similar to that, or maybe get the person you're with so that they can have that because they're envious of that bond you have with that person. And I feel like a lot of, at least for me, I feel like a lot of girls do that. A lot of girls, I feel like, are very envious of like what, you know, they see. And then they're like, damn, I wish I had that. Like, that's not fair. I never got my chance to get that. So, you know, and then it's always like, it's always the girls that are like, I'm so happy for you. Like, I'm so like, and they're just like obnoxiously nice. I feel like it's always those people that are first in line as soon as something happens between your significant other. Not saying that everybody is like that, because I know there's people that genuinely give a fuck about, you know, I guess like your lifestyle and what you put out there on social media. But you know, I will say, not to not share your best moments, obviously share them, but also like just keep in mind that there is people with bad intentions out there. So I'm just saying. So yes, friendly people is definitely something that I feel like definitely happens through social media. Like people become very envious, and it's not just with relationships, bitch. Like if you're doing better than someone else, like they think like, oh, they start wishing bad upon you because they're not at that level, which is very sad. Like honestly, like that's such a sad thought, and to think that a lot of friendships end that way because like, you know, they see their friend doing like really well, and then just because like maybe they're not at that caliber, they just like want to end it. And like honestly, that gets me really sad, because like with my friends and my family, just my personal opinion and whatever it is, like, and my relationships, I want to see them exceed and be the best versions of themselves, no matter, you know what. And some people can't fathom the thought of someone surpassing them in life, and that's a very sad thing. So that's another reality check. Like if your ego is stinging you when you feel like someone might be getting the opportunity that you might not currently have, that's something that you need to check within yourself, because that's your ego triggering you, and you need to understand that everyone is on their own path. I literally talked about this 2 episodes ago, 2 episodes ago. But everybody is on their own path, and you know, I feel like there's people that are where you are right now at this age, but there's gonna be time for you. Like literally everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer of that. And hey, like if the person that I love the most, you know, is successful in one way and I'm successful in another way, then so be it. Because if we're both happy, then why should you want to bring down somebody else? That is mean, and that is very ego driven. So yeah, that's that topic. So another thing I received, which I find something that a lot of people end up falling for, is options. Okay, so I feel like social media, like I said, is a platform to show your best self, right? And I feel like sometimes when people get into a relationship, or maybe people that are single, the reason why they don't settle down is because they're like, damn, there's so much out there. But what if I could get this girl? Or what if I could get this guy? What if I could get this person? Like, there's just so many people out there. Like, look how they're responding to my stories. Like, look, they just want me so bad. Like, damn, but like I can't hold myself down. Like, look at all that's out there. Like, there's people that really think that way, and I know because I have friends that think that way, mostly guys, but you know. And honestly, Honestly, I feel like if you're in something right now or whatever, like even if you're single, like I feel like you're never going to be satisfied. If you already have that mindset, what if, you're never going to be satisfied with yourself nor with the next person coming into your life. You need to humble yourself, and you need to understand that what is meant for you is for you. And if you're constantly trying to look in other places to find what's missing, that means that you need to work on yourself, because clearly you are not whole and you are not happy with who you are. Because if you're whole yourself and another whole person comes into your life, you will feel good and you will feel at peace. But if you're not whole, you're constantly going to be thinking, what if? And that's another very ego driven thing. And that's something that you got to check on your own self, you know? So I'm going to also leave it at that. Take that into consideration. A lot of these things have to do with ego, and a lot of these things have to do with comparing yourself. Literally, like most of these topics have to do with the ego and how you are perceived by people and how people perceive you. And that fear of how is this person going to perceive me because X, Y, and Z. So a lot of these things that have to do with social media is very on the surface. Like, I honestly think social media is very to the surface. I know I could be talking shit because I'm heavy on social media. I'm always on it because that is basically my brand and that's basically my business. But one thing that I feel like I give myself a lot of pride in is I don't let the hype or like social media cloud me. I know who I am, and I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I don't have like this itty bitty body or whatever the fuck, and I'm proud to say it. I really don't give a fuck. I don't try to act like somebody else. Like, I can post myself in full on makeup and I can post myself with zero makeup. Honestly, I don't care. Like, social media to me is honestly at this point like a business platform, and it's something that can, you know, showcase beautiful things. And like, if you just kind of like create your own algorithm and you feel happy within yourself, these thoughts of like, damn, like, you know, what if there's more, and what if there's this, and all these like ego driven thoughts, I feel like I don't know, there's just like a lot of things that I feel, and that's why I'm like so like because I feel very strongly when it comes to social media and when it comes to people like really caring so much of how people think. Like, honestly, I didn't even know this is gonna sound so bad, but I didn't even know that girls like Photoshop their hair like to make it look fuller, like to make their slim smaller. Like, I knew that, but like the hair thing, I was like, I mean, you know, granted, I have good hair, so like I don't gotta worry about that. You feel me? But like, you know, it's just really sad. Like, you know, why can't we accept us for who we are? Like, why do we have to create this false image of a person that we're not? And it's because maybe we're not happy with ourselves, or we're trying to feel accepted by our followers or accepted by the viewers, which is sad, you know. And something, oh my god, this goes hand in hand with my little therapy session I had what's today? I had yesterday. Fun. Okay, so yesterday I had a therapy session, and one of my biggest I feel like insecurities or my biggest weaknesses is that this person that you see right now, FrannyTings, the girl that's funny and, you know, like, hi, and all this, like, I always get scared showing, I guess, like my friends or my family or like the real world. That's what I call it. But bitch, get out of here. I feel scared showing them like the version of myself that is not that. Sometimes I get really depleted. Like, I become like not sad, because I don't think that's the case, but I just become very drained. I feel like I do a lot. I put a lot on my plate, you know, like I'm at 100, you know, I'm always trying to make meetings and like try to progress with my career and my future, and, you know, constantly trying to make it happen, that sometimes I forget about myself and I tend to let myself go. And my biggest fear is having people see that side of Franny. And this weekend, you know, I got tested to that limit, because I went through, like triggers, for my last podcast. If you saw it, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. It was just a lot for me to handle. I was very triggered by my guests, and it took a toll on me. Like emotionally, it drained the fuck out of me. And then not only that, I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I was maybe on like 3-4 hours of sleep. And then I had to shoot like at 8 a.m. the next day, and it was just a lot. And I'm not saying that I'm not grateful for these opportunities, because I am, but it gets to the point that you need a break. And I have that tendency of like literally wasting my battery fully. And then I just drain out and I become like a zombie. Like I can't talk. I can't listen to music. Like I just need silence. And there's only a few people that have seen me in that way. And when I am in that state of mind where I'm just like a zombie, I tend to isolate and I tend to not hang out with anyone. I tend to be alone because I'm scared of showing that version of me. And something that my therapist said was like, why should you like give up that version of you? Like if that is you, and if you're showing this side of you that, is you at the end of the day and people don't like it, then those people weren't meant to be in your life, So this goes hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier, is just that image that you're trying to portray, like maybe like is you, but at the same time, it's like we have to learn how to accept all versions of ourselves when it comes to our body, when it comes to our insecurities, emotionally, all those things. I know we don't maybe portray on social media, but we have to learn to accept all parts of us. And that is something I'm working on. I am not perfect, I'm definitely working on that, but I feel like that is something that I'm learning to cope with. Just trying to be maybe my whole Francesca Roger, to my audience and to the people around me that I love, because, I feel like that's important. So yeah, this goes hand in hand with what I was saying. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was showing off your partner. This is something that I also got a lot from on Instagram, and I do think showing off your partner is important. Okay. So when I was in the dating scene before my boyfriend, don't get it fucking twisted, bitch, relax. Before my boyfriend, I had Bumble, I had Hinge, I was like a girl in the streets, And one of the first things I would always tell every single guy I would talk to was, give me your Instagram. And the reason why is because I feel like if they say no, like I don't really use Instagram, is because they probably have their girlfriend on there and they don't want to see it. Like they're probably trying to cheat and it's like not gonna happen, or they're catfish. So I feel like it is important to show off the person you love, especially if you're actively on social media. I would understand if your significant other literally has no social media and they're like, why the fuck am I gonna make an Instagram just to show like that I have a girlfriend or that I have a boyfriend? Like, I get it. But if you're actively on social media and you're posting every now and then, with the bros and all this stuff, and you guys have been dating for like more than 3 months, actively dating, like I think it's only right that you kind of showcase, the person that you love spending time with. Like, just like I said, like social media, you're kind of pushing out that, like the good parts of your life, And I honestly think that for me, it is slightly an insult, and this could be my ego, ticking, but it slightly is an insult when you're like, when we're talking and we're like actively dating, but you don't want to post me, but you rather post your bros and like your dog, and like, wait, like, hold on, like, why don't you want to post me? Like, something is up there. That's my personal opinion, and that could be my ego, but for me, I think that is important. But again, only if you are also actively on social media, because if not, what the fuck, why are you gonna do that? Okay, next. Oh my god. This one is tea. Okay, so this one is airing out your issues about your relationship on social media. Girl, I've seen so many couples do this that it's uncomfortable. Like, why, first of all, why are you going to tweet about a fight that you guys had? Why are you gonna post like subtle memes or like whatever the fuck and tag your significant other, or like not even tag them, but like which I've seen happen, but like just post that general like pettiness? Don't get me wrong, I have done that. I know someone's gonna call me out and they're like, you don't remember when you fucking post quarantine, like you were like reposting all this shit about breakups and shit? Yes, I have done that. I can admit that I have. Okay, so I want to explain my reasoning for doing that. It doesn't make it valid. It's still wrong, but I feel like maybe other people feel the same way I have. The reason why I felt like I was posting like these therapist memes about breakups and stuff like that was because I felt like that was the only way I can express myself. Because at the time my partner was not like was not susceptible to understanding my point of view. So therefore I felt like I had to express myself some way, somehow, and try to get validation from other people so we can talk about it, because I felt like I couldn't have a safe space to talk about these things. So therefore I would like literally seek validation or want to talk about it with other people. Well, that's why I have therapy now, because I pay to talk about shit like that. But, you know, it was like a form of therapy for me, because what happens is that people reply to that story and then they're like, oh my God, yes, like I get this because X, Y, and Z. And then I feel better because I'm like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. I'm not fucking going crazy thinking these things that I'm thinking. Like during that time of my life when I was posting shit like that, like, you know, therapy breakup memes, I met my friend Ashley, and she's like an influencer on Instagram, and we actually kind of like trauma bonded over the scenario or like the situation we went through. We were going through it at the same time, where it was like our birthday, then we got COVID, and then we got broken up with during COVID, you know. So there was like a lot of things that we had in common, and the way that I found out was literally through that, like posting I guess, you know, my therapy memes and like my traumatic experience on social media. And then that's how like we kind of bonded. And now like it's kind of fun because we're both in like a serious relationship and we're both really happy, and we both learned like all these amazing lessons from our last relationship. So like, you know, that's why I did it. Okay, like I know it doesn't make it valid, but at this point I feel like I was already broken up with my ex at the time. But I have seen people or couples post their fights and like all these like petty memes and like all this stuff when they're actively together with their partner. And to me, that's weird. Like, just talk about it. Like, do you guys not see each other like often to just sit down and have a conversation about it? Now, don't get me wrong, I know what it's like to be with someone that cannot conversate about emotions, you know. Not saying that my current boyfriend's like that, because not it. He's the most emotionally intelligent person I have met thus far. I feel like I've learned a lot from him. But, you know, I understand that some people don't have that capability, but maybe it's time to just leave them if they don't have the emotional capability of sitting down and having a genuine conversation about the problem, and not get triggered and not yell at each other. And it's like it's not you versus the other person. It's you guys against the problem. So, I mean, I see these people like tagging their partners on some petty bullshit and like tweeting about fights, and it's just like, it just is ugly, because what happens is that you go through that stage and you're like being this petty person, and then 24 hours later, obviously you forgive them because, you know, you guys talked it out and like all this stuff, but then you look kind of dumb, you know. Like, you look kind of dumb in that perspective, because you're like constantly posting stuff like this, showing that your relationship is toxic behind closed doors, and then you're like also posting that you're like very happy with them. Now, I know it's maybe not our place to judge, but it's also not the internet's place to be involved in your relationship. Like, that's not something that you should put out there in the sense of like all like the quote unquote bad stuff, you know. Just have a conversation about it, you know. And I'm sure there's a lot of moments that you might not see, or people on social media might not see, that are the best moments, you know, that are happening in a relationship. So I don't know, there's just like a lot of things when it comes to social media and relationships, and I think that we just have to learn how to detach like the perception of what people think of us, you know. Again, which is something I'm personally still learning. And I know everyone might not agree with me, which is great, because that has a table for conversation. Is that a fucking analogy? I don't think it is. I think I made that up. But it leaves an open-end conversation. Anyways, it leaves an open-end conversation. So I understand not a lot of people might agree with me, and that's okay. I'd rather talk about it and have genuine conversations versus like posting memes about it. That's shade to one of the topics I was doing. But anyways, if you guys have any other, I guess, comments or concerns, or really want to like just open up this to a conversation, I'm more than happy to do so. I feel like I got a lot of people wanting to conversate about these topics that I, you know, talked about throughout, and, you know, they were willing to listen to it. So, you know, to the people that reached out to me via Instagram, thank you so much. It really did help me kind of guide the episode and guide what you guys specifically wanted to hear. You know, with the trust issues, because I'm going back to that because that was the biggest one. I definitely think that's something that, you know, you must work on within. Yeah, because what that is just a lot of insecurity. And I feel like especially in women, I feel like that happens a lot when they see like their man, like a girl in a bikini or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, like, did he not find me attractive or whatever? And honestly, like, if that is your insecurity, that's perfectly valid, but that's a conversation you have to have. So I don't know. And also social media is the huge villain here, because like they portray all these things, and they made the platform literally to do exactly that, to portray the best parts of our lives. And we just have to learn that social media is not always real. And if you guys feel like some type of way towards an account or towards anything, it's okay to unfollow, it's okay to mute. Create your own algorithm. Instagram should feel like a place where you can go and express yourself freely, not to go and be like, this is toxic as fuck, because you're the one that's interacting with that content. You know, think about that. So the next time you guys go on social media, your homework is going to be, if you don't like it, unfollow it, mute it, and don't interact with it. Cut it off from your life. If you feel some type of energy towards it that's negative, cut it off. That happens to me a lot. I tend to go on my stories, and I always make a comment with this like one person or this one thing, and it's just like, why am I making these comments? Like, what does this say about me? You know? So yeah. Anyways, that is it for today's podcast. It was a short one. The last podcast, if you've heard it, you already know what the fuck is up, bitch. My energy is drained. And from here on out, I promise you guys, I will do my best to know who I'm bringing onto my podcast. That's very important. That's definitely a lesson that I learned. And I apologize that I couldn't show you guys the podcast visually last week. We lost a lot of footage, like I said on my story. In case you guys are only listening to me or watching me on YouTube, just know that, yeah, I lost a lot of footage from my last one. And honestly, that was the best option, because that interview was something else for me. If you haven't listened to it, go and listen to it. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, if you have an Android. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I love you and have an amazing day or night. Happy Monday if you're listening to this when it comes out, because if you are, you're a real one. And make sure to comment, subscribe, like. I also been thinking If you guys have made it this far, DM me or comment down below if you're on YouTube. I've been thinking about doing a phone line maybe for my podcast, and maybe calling up some people, see if they, needed advice, or opening up like what is that called? A questionnaire through Google, and you guys admitting like your secrets, or maybe you guys ask for advice and I can give it to you guys anonymously. You guys can be anonymous if you want to. So I think that's fun and interactive, and I want you guys to share that benefit, not just through Instagram, through my podcast as well. So yeah, I love you, and let me know if that's a good idea. Work. Bye.